Okay, welcome everybody to part 5 of the Open Focus Timer. And I can see that we have some few things here to say that are new. So first, welcome Megan Wilson to the chat. Welcome, glad that you're here. How are you doing? And also, thank you very much for 2 new followers. La Love version 1, that's how I'm going to read it. I'm not sure if that's correct. And Champ Zero, thank you for following and welcome to my channel. So Megan, how are you doing? I was joining your stream recently, so you're also a developer, also an iOS or Swift developer. So how are things going for you? How's your project going? Great. So to get back and to get basically on track here with this stream, last time we created this summary at the end of the stream. That's what I'm always doing at the end. And so let's go through it and see where we're going to basically continue today. But before I get to that, I first want to basically remind everyone who's maybe live here that we do have, I do have a survey running currently on Twitter, which is basically a new idea. And just to say that also today we will not have any app reviews because there was no one who had time for an app review today. I do have 3 more app reviews planned, scheduled for this Friday, next week Wednesday, and next week Friday. So we will continue that, and I'm planning to continue that as long as I can. But yeah, I had this request by one of the people interested in app review if I can also do a code review. So I created this survey where I'm basically asking if people are interested in that and how it should be exactly. So anyone who might be in the chat, also feel free to share with me how you think it makes most sense, or just take part in this survey. So let me share the link to the survey so you can basically take part in it. And I would really be interested in yeah, how it should be done, like code reviewing, which means obviously some code has to be shared with me. It doesn't have to be a public project. I will of course not share it anywhere, but some trust is needed obviously. But other than that, should I do some refactoring on the code? Should I also try to rate the code like I do with the app reviews, where I could rate like the reusability of the code or other aspects of code that I might maybe write down as what I think are the most important ones? Or should I do both maybe? So feel free to take part in this survey. So yeah, it only 58 minutes left, so you have to be fast. And having that said, also on the app reviews topic, I did create a some kind of certificate for those people who have already taken part in the app reviews part. So now officially, you can also find those posts. You can find me at both at GHUT, but this is basically the certificate I've designed for those 2 apps that I have reviewed. So this is the first. This is the first one. This is the second one that we reviewed. And yeah, that's basically just a nice thing that the developer who's taking part in the app review can share, and everyone who's going to take part will receive this from me and can use it. And there's also a smaller kind of certificate badge that I'm sharing, but I'm just sharing that with the developers, so you will definitely receive that as well, just to talk about that. But today we're going to all focus on the Open Focus Timer, which is also in the title. So let's get back to the summary. What did we do last time? Okay, so the progress. App review of TimerWave. Yeah, that was the app that we reviewed last time. Then we read the current timing, the current running timer from the database. So we did some core data reading. Then the actual if let's store optional navigation implemented. So we're now actually having a proper navigation from the root of the app to our timer feature. Then we we fixed some missing translations for the start and stop button. And we reworked the logic of the timer reducer, which is like the logical part. So reducer, because we're using the composable architecture where we have the reducer. And in the it's like the, thinking of model view controller, it's most close to the controller part. And yeah, we have the logic in there, and we basically rewrote that logic. Then some problems. We did have a problem, did too many changes at once, add didn't build or test, not pausing anymore. So yeah, that was definitely something. And actually the reason, I think the reason for that was didn't do any breaks. Made many mistakes. yeah, by the end, I would say, like after half into the stream last time, which was like after 2 hours or 1.5 hours, I recognized, I rewatched some part of it, I recognized what went wrong. I just wanted to know why I went into this big changes without really being able to build and things like that. And I believe that's due to us not doing enough breaks. We didn't do any breaks last time. So I'm definitely going to work on that and have an idea. And basically what I'm going to do, I'm writing the open focus timer right now because I want to use the focus timer for my own work. And basically, in the meantime, until my own focus timer is ready, I've opted for another focus timer that I found, which works for my needs. So this is an app that, let me show you the app. So this is the app I'm using. Player Biz Twitch. Hello, can you give me an advice to be more productive? Welcome to the stream, Player Biz Twitch. And what kind of advice are you looking for? So, like, what kind of work are you doing? I think it's hard to give general advice how to be more productive, and you can read a lot of general advice online. But if you have a specific question, I would love to give you some advice. So, what kind of what is the part that you think is your problem right now to coding? What are you coding? Are you coding apps? Are you developing more on the back end? Are you developing front ends? What's your kind of thing you're developing? Are you also developing apps like we do here? One thing that I can definitely suggest, you're learning coding. Oh, okay. So you want to be more productive and you're just learning coding. I think very, very important when you learn development, learning web development. When you're learning development, I think one of the most important things you have to think about is you have to be consistent over a longer period of time. You shouldn't be like thinking that on one day you can make a lot of progress, because your brain isn't really fast enough to like learn all these new ideas. Because think of it like we humans start as like babies, and we learn how our environment works over repetition, and over time. And you have to think about this learning a programming language as a similar thing, because learning a programming language means you're learning something that you're not used to yet. And the thing is that programming languages are kind of different from other languages, like human languages. And you have to give your brain a lot of time. That means you should do at least 1 hour learning every day, but be consistent on your days. That's one of the most important things I think you have to do. You have to repeat it every day. You don't have to do like 5-10 hours in one day, but be consistent. That's definitely one thing I can recommend. And for that, you can use any like habit app or reminder app or something like that. There are a lot of habit apps out there. The second thing I can suggest is that that's what we are just also talking about. So I did have this learning last time that I didn't do any breaks. So I didn't stretch, I didn't take any fresh air. You will try to be consistent. Yeah, definitely do that. Also give yourself time. Don't stress yourself. If you don't understand something, accept that you just take time. And programming is a lot about learning many thousands of small things. You really learn small things and they build up together, and then you will understand bigger, larger topics and problems. It's much like mathematics in that regard. If you don't know how to do the basics there, you will never learn how to do more complex things. Is it worth taking notes for coding? You mean like what you learned or something like that? So 2 things I am doing myself and that you can do as well is, first, you can make a session summary. So at the end, you can say like, what progress did you make? Because you also want to remind yourself next time when you start what you've learned last time, and also give yourself at the end of the session some kind of feeling of progress. That's really, really important to keep motivated, because as you can see, I have made progress last time, although it didn't feel like progress last time to me, to be honest. But I have made progress, and the blocker was that I didn't make any breaks. So that's the second thing, make breaks. And there is a thing called Pomodoro. So let me search for you for that. Pomodoro is a concept where you basically, let me go to Wikipedia. There's a city called Pomodoro, interesting. Something like that. Why is it all German? I want to see it in English. So Pomodoro is a technique where you basically have a 25-minute timer, and then you make 5 to 10 minute breaks. And that's also something which keeps you focused, because your brain also can't like you focus for an hour or something like that. You can focus for 25 minutes and then give yourself 5-minute break. Always also stand up in that 5 minutes, walk around, get some fresh air, do some stretching. That's going to help a lot as well. And yeah, just take your time. So I want to speak about our temporary focus timer that we're going to use until our own focus timer is ready. And it's this one here, Flow. And I really liked it because it really fulfills the simple thing that I want to do here, which is I just want to have this 25-minute timer. And when the timer 25 minutes are off, it basically fills the full screen. And that's something that I was looking for. So I really get forced to make a break right away. And although I might be in the middle of something, I think I can make a very short break at least, where I can stand up and stretch and get some fresh air. So I set it up to give a 2-minute break after 25 minutes, and we're going to try it out the first time today. And I will start it once I start developing. And the cool thing is also this is on the status bar here, so I can always see where I am at right at the moment. It doesn't bother me in any other way. So that's what we're going to use for now. Until we have something else ready. And that's basically my fix for this problem that last time I forgot to make any brace. Hello Sevens, welcome to the stream, how are you doing? Okay, so that's the timer we will start in a minute, but let's get first through this document. So our learnings last time, we remembered that the method to call into core data is fetch. Yeah, that was the fetching. I wasn't sure what name was, so my core data knowledge is also kind of rusty. Then the next steps we documented, and that's also something, this is also something I can recommend to player this Twitch, that you always write down where you stop when you end your session. So next time you don't have to get into it for a long time, you just right away can start where you are at last time. Hey Megan Wilson, yeah, she's also here. So get the timer feature tests passing again, fixed specifically the start action not working. So we were at these tests and we broke our tests because we changed how the app works. We refactored things and add a reflection screen with a summary of the session. That's like the next feature to implement. So when our session ends, we want to do a reflection exactly like this with these four different categories. Connect the reflection screen to the database. Okay, that's like the, yeah, this is the UI, this is the data layer. So let's continue with the timer feature tests passing on. So I will actually start this. And the cool thing about this also is I don't have to see this UI. I can just go up here, I can just right click and it will start the timer. So the timer is now officially started. And let's get back to working here. So let me open the project. And for you also Sevens and everyone who joined in, so make sure to take part in this survey here, which I linked also in the chat, that I posted on Twitter about. Now I have to focus, so let's get back here. And focus timer. Let's open the app. Cool. So we were at the file called timer feature tests. Timer feature tests, let's go into that. Okay, we are already here. And let's just run a test and see what happens. It is supposed to fail. Let's wait. We have to switch to timer feature package. Now we can run the tests. Megan Wills just did the survey. Yeah, nice. Thank you very much. How are you doing? How was your day? Did you code today on Twitch? Did you stream? I'm not always getting the notifications because when I'm working, I always have the focus mode on and then I don't get all notifications. Doing good, just getting some work done. Yeah, so you're also working on the side. That's nice. I used to watch games on Twitch while I was coding as well in the past. So that's definitely something that I can totally relate to. Okay, the test is not running. Let me run that. Come on, you. Okay, there is already a test running. Something is happening. Let's just see. Okay, I'm not really sure what's happening or going on. No stream today. I was gonna do it, but I wanted to do some work on my Discord server. Cool, yeah, that's also nice. So you're working on building a community, like that's also cool. I mean, I'm going to be taking part in that. Looking forward to that as well. Thank you, Sevens. Just filled the survey as well. That's great. Now it's going to be more clear what people expect or what they think is most useful. And feel free to retweet in case you want to reach some more people. Yep, it's a small but strong community. Cool. Looking forward to taking part in that. Timer feature tests. Okay, yeah, they're failing. I don't know why it took so long for it to run, but that was what we were expecting, that the timer feature test is failing. And this is based on the Composable Architecture, by the way. So if you don't know that, Composable Architecture, and basically what it allows to do is I can test my feature totally separately by creating an app environment. So I can also hide away, like abstract away what my environment is. In this case, I have a main queue, so I can control time with the test scheduler. Then we have a managed object context, so we are using a test managed object context in our tests, and even a now date producer. So whenever I call the now function in my code, I could basically provide a specific date for that, and I am doing that. So this is the now date. That way we control the time, and then we create the store for the feature, and we just use the state here that we have created. And the state is just simply creating this sample focus timer, passing it in, and then basically what we do, we're sending to the store the different actions that the user does on the user interface. And this is, in my opinion, the strongest part of the composable architecture, that you can really do this in a unit test. You can simulate actions from a user in a unit test without having the test be slow, like UI test would be. And that's really, really amazing. And yeah, we're then asserting some things, and let's continue. Let's start with this first thing here. I see maybe too many stream elements posts here. I will try to adjust that after the stream. So in effect, return for this action is still running. Yeah, because we have clicked the start button here. I think we also had some issues with the app itself. So let's actually go to the iOS app. Let's just run it and see if it works visually. I think it was all failing visually. So here's our app running in a simulator. Also, let's create a new summary for today, as we wanted to write down our progress as well. And we are focusing on the open focus timer, and it's part 4. Cool. So we have the timer, and when we click start, actually this button should change to a stop button, and this should start counting, but it doesn't happen. And that's part of the issue. So let's have a look at that. Let's see our actions. So we are receiving the action did appear. That makes sense. So the screen appears, and we are seeing the action timer start button pressed. So this looks good to me, to be honest. The question is, why doesn't it work? So if I go to my timer reducer and go to the case where the start button is pressed, it's called here. So we should actually be able to breakpoint in here, and it should actually fire. So let's see what happens. It doesn't. Let me restart the app and see if it fires on the first click. It doesn't fire. So I think I have an idea what the issue might be. So this doesn't fire, and this shows that somehow the connection is broken. And what we did last time is we added the app entry point as an actual the composable architecture kind of entry, and we did it in the app. So we have the open focus timer app, and here we're creating a app entry point view and giving it the app entry point reducer, app entry point. I think it should be called actually app entry point reducer. Let's rename this. Okay, we're passing that on, and then we're creating the environment that we want to pass on. And the reducer itself is a reducer with which works or acts on the different actions that are possible. But I can already see what the issue is here. So in the composable architecture, you have to connect the different reducers to each other, otherwise it doesn't work. Because last time we actually made it that we have a timer state and also the timer action And it is all handled by the app entry point state, like on a root level, basically. And we want to pass on any action that is the timer action. And to do that, we have to tell the reducer how to do that. And so that's, as always, just look up things on the Composable Architecture repository itself, because there's a lot of good examples in here. And probably this one is a good one to have a look at. So you can see there is a reducer, and what they do here is they create first the child reducer, which is the counter reducer, and then they pull back from the child reducer its basically state action environment. So this is, I can't really summarize or teach this all of how this works here in this stream, but if you're interested, definitely check out like point 3. So just to point that out again, I'm kind of doing this each stream more or less, but just go to point3.co and then just go to the Composable Architecture, scroll down to a tour of the Composable Architecture, and these 4 videos are free to watch, and they basically explain all this stuff, how that works. And basically this is the part that we're missing, and it's also not optional in our case, so we have to use this and combine it with the other reducer we already have. So let's do that. And the reducer we want to, so this is like how the code looks. Let's comment this out. So our reducer that we want to combine here and call into is the timer reducer. So it is automatically importing the timer feature. Let's also check if that works from here. App entry point, timer feature, yeah, makes sense. So now we want to pull back from the timer reducer. Let's actually put this into a new line. And we want to pull back the state, and in our case, we want to pull back the state of our state here. So we have a timer state in our case. So we can go from our global state to this timer state. And for that, we can just say timer states. Then we have an action and an environment. So for the environment, we are actually using the same environment in our, we have this app environment from the utility package, and we're using that in our time reducer as well. You can see it's the app environment, and the environment of our reducer here is also app environment. So we can just pass this on just like that. And the action, I think we have to do, okay, the action is also from our global action. We want to point to the timer action, and this is our global action. This is timer action. So we just have to call into this timer. Just say like timer action, and I will 0 missing. So this is not possible, able to infer. Let's make it more clear. App entry point action. Key path cannot refer to static member. So let's again go back to their repository. I'm sure they also have another example where this is more clear. Counter reducer, there you go. We have this pullback, and in this case, this is okay. They also specify the state, and this is backslash, and this is slash. So we need to use slash for that. And the slash here is actually another library from point 3 where they implement this to make sure that it's working. App entry point state. So now it should be working. App entry to expected argument type variable key path, app entry point state, timer state, app entry point state. Okay, this is an optional state, so we have to make it optional. Let's go back again. So they basically use this reducer, pullback, optional pullback. So let's do optional here. This fixes the issue, and then we have to combine it with this one here. And we can call combine with, and then we can pass this reducer. Should work like this. And at the end, we call debug actions. So it's building. Let's see what happens when I run the app now, if it fixes the issue. So let's start. And something is happening. Oh, so this is making the call now. Let's just get out of here and see if the app is actually working now. Okay, it does get called now, but still it's not working. So we have another issue we have to deal with. But we can see the timer is actually running every second. So the timer is ticking. So now, the last time our issue was actually that it wasn't even getting called. So we had to fix this reducer connection to glue together the two reducers. Now we have another issue here, which is that our state updater somehow doesn't do what we expect it to do. So let's see what happens when we go into timer tick. So we are in the state of timer ticked. We have the state here. And so our show time is up alert is true. So it should actually already show the time is up alert, but it's not doing that. Question is why? Oh, it is showing, okay. So, okay, let's continue running this. Let me get this off. So actually the UI is basically working, just the timer is not counting down. Also, the timer is still ticking, although we didn't restart. So, oh, it's over again. So some issues here. Let's stop. Let's go back to our tests. Maybe we can fix the tests first. And our test is here, timer feature tests. So let's run it again. So our tests are failing, and the first thing that's failing is an effect return for this action is still running. So what were we doing here? We're doing start button pressed. We expect that then the timer is running is true. Okay, then we're sending pause button pressed. Actually, if timer is running is true. Okay, let's find out why the ticking is not working. So we have the timer reducer, and when the start button is pressed, we set the current focus timer running to true. Then we save, and somehow the UI doesn't get updated. So I have an idea why this might be the case. So we have a focus timer, and the focus timer object in our store, this is a class, I think. Yeah, this is a class because it's a file from core data directly. And I believe the issue is that we are updating the state here of this focus timer, but in SwiftUI, the magic that's happening in SwiftUI, it doesn't recognize that we have actually made changes to the store's state. And the SwiftUI view only changes if we actually make changes to the state, and SwiftUI can somehow know that, and currently it doesn't know. So I believe the issue we have is that we have to tell SwiftUI to just update the screen, and there is some workaround to do that, and we could actually go for that and just see if that's the issue, and let's just do that. So we're going to introduce a variable, and we're just going to call it force refresh UI. I'm going to make it a boolean. I'm going to set it to false at the start, and let's also add a warning. This is a temporary solution. Find a proper solution to update UI. Okay, so we don't forget to fix this, force refresh UI. Basically what we're going to do, each time we expect the UI to update, we're just going to toggle that boolean. So we're doing some changes here. So what I want is that the boolean gets toggled. So I'm just going to call into state, force refresh UI, toggle. Bully X Kenshin, thank you for following and welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How are things going? Are you iOS developer or a Swift developer or developer at all or interested in this content? Feel free to tell me or ask me anything about iOS development. That's why I'm streaming here. Okay, state.forceRefreshUI.toggle. Yeah, we're basically toggling this boolean to make sure that SwiftUI gets informed about a change. And another thing we have to do is to actually use this forceRefreshUI property in SwiftUI. So basically SwiftUI has also this connection that when this property changes, it has to refresh. And for that, we have to reference it somewhere here. And I'm not sure if there is a really good solution to do that. Let me actually search for that. So force refresh SwiftUI. There's a trick, I'm sure that Hacking with Swift has a nice code example there. That's not what I'm looking forward to, but there's an update. Yeah, they're using this same thing, and in the model, the view. Okay, it's the view. They're using it. Okay, anyways, let's just use it our way. Let's just add something simple here. For example, we could say we have this spacer. Let's just add, just right at the top here, an empty view on change. What do you mean by on change? So I can say something like on change here. On change of perform. That's a modifier for this view that fires an action when a specific value changes. Okay, so I can say something like view store dot force refresh UI on change of that, and I just do nothing. What am I getting here? I don't care. And let's just add a warning here too. I don't know if that would help completely. Let's try it out. Let me run this app. Oops. Build failed because, yeah, let's delete this empty. I just wanted to create an empty view and just say like, if force refresh, then show an empty view. But I think this is one, it could be better. But we're getting an issue with entry point. What's the issue? View context accessed for persistent container model with no stores loaded. Oh, there should never be multiple running timers in the database. Oh, okay, that's an assertion that we had created and somehow our code was failing. So we have to just turn off this assertion for now. Let's see if this works. So yeah, there's definitely a bug in here, but the UI is now refreshing. So that's helping. And we have to obviously do the changes on every call now. And this is definitely not the solution I want to stick with long term. But just for now, let's get this working with this workaround. Let's call it workaround. By just each time we make a change to the state, we're doing that here as well. Let's just do that toggling. Same here. And we're also changing the state here. And we're changing the state here. But in this case, I think it should recognize. Anyways, let me call it anyways, just to be sure. And now basically all the action should be forwarded to the view. Let's see if that works. Start, pause, start. It's also counting. If I say pause, it pauses. If I say start, it's counting down now. It's finished. But it starts to count right away. Somehow our timer is still running. It's basically never getting deleted. So there's another issue we have there. But let's run the tests again, just to see if maybe the tests are, like more steps in the tests are actually passing. Now let's see if this changes. And okay, more steps are actually failing. We have start button pressed, state change does not match expectations. So now we have this force refresh UI and we basically just don't care about it. So that's a bummer. That's also making our tests not look good. So we're going to skip the test for now. Let's fix the behavior first, then let's refactor to make sure that we can get rid of this force refresh UI again. And then I think we can fix the tests, or we just add them for now here. It's going to look just weird. Should we fix the tests first? Ah, I hate this workaround. Can we do something else? Okay, so what we had before and how it worked is we didn't have this current focus timer. Instead, we had all the different fields in the state itself. So we were more explicit on what we needed here. And could actually do that again. we go back. So let's just have a look at what this state looked before. Timer store. And we used to have the fields timer is running, time left, current focus timer. Maybe after all, it's not that bad of an idea to have these fields here explicitly as states, and then building the changes on the current focus timer on top of that. So we had extracted some logic to the current focus timer, but maybe that's not even a good idea. So let's go there to the focus timer, and here's our extension. So we are calculating some stuff here, which is, I think, fine, but maybe the storage should stay in the state. So we are pausing the timer this way, we are ticking this way, we are completing. And basically what we want to do is here, make the UI refresh every time some part of this changes. And this is a reference object because it's a class. I think it's hard to tell SwiftUI how it can make the updates. What do you think? Should I rework this so I have the state here in the timer state again? Or should I somehow differently try to connect the SwiftUI to the focus timer class object? I mean, I could make this a observable object, but yeah, sounds like quite complicated to me, and I actually want to keep it simple. So maybe we do want to do these things manually. So it might be duplicate work, but at least our UI will refresh correctly then. Okay, var timer is running. Let's change them. Let me see the commits. So is this just the changes we made today? I think so, cool. Then I'm safe. I can basically revert if things go wrong. So time left. Let's just make this a time interval, explicit one. But how can we make this explicit one and still use this? Maybe we just implement a update kind of method. So I'm just going to make a new method I call, let's put it below the initializer, because I like to put methods below there. So I'm just going to call update state with focus timer. So we have the focus timer here now. And I want to update the state. Actually, also I remember I had a typo somewhere. Let me just look that up. So I have the app entry store. Looks nice. Okay, maybe I don't have it anymore. Okay, so that's our first break. And yeah, I'm just going to get do some stretching, get some fresh air, and I'll be back in 1 minute and 50. Latest. I'm not actually tracking time. I'll be back in a minute, so see you. Okay, 2 minutes are over. So we were at the also I might be actually showing the 2 minutes, so next time I will try to edit that into the stream so you can actually see it. And that's the wrong place. This is where we were at. So we have this update state with focus timer method where we want to use this focus timer changes and just update the other stuff that we will add here. Okay, so, or actually I'm thinking about moving those methods here. Yeah, I think that makes even more sense. So we have extracted some logic into the focus timer, which is this file here. And actually, maybe we just move these methods that we have here into the state. Then we can do the changes in the state's properties and also on the focus timer at the same time. I think that's probably the best way to do this. We can keep these like getters. I think those are fine, but everything that changes the data, I think we need to extract it. So let's actually do that. And maybe we can keep it here and we can just duplicate them. Let's just do that. So I'll just duplicate them in this timer store where we will have these methods. So the pause method, and in this case, the pause method is going to change the no longer computer properties. So we have timers running, we have time left, and timers running is basically being changed here. And in here, we just also call into current focus timer dot pause. So we have the logic still in the focus timer itself. And on top of that, we're going to do the change on the timers running plus the pause count, but the pause count isn't really relevant for our UI. So we just say timer is running, change that to true, to false. So that's nice. This change here. Let's go with self here because I like to make this explicit. I'm trying to get back used to this call into self, and I got basically I was in the opinion that the call to self should be always made to make it always clear if you're referencing something that is a property or if you're referencing some local variable. And then I basically got convinced by the community, by the Swift community, mostly by SwiftLint, which always reported warnings for if I did that when it was not necessary, that I should actually not call into self explicitly if I don't have to. And recently, as I'm becoming a fan kind of the Point Free guys, they actually also call into self always explicitly, and they think that it's just more explicit, and that goes in line with my old opinion. So I'm basically going back to making the self call now. So we have this false set here, and the music is off. Let me check that. Not sure what's going on there. Yeah, some songs have like a full minute of silence at the end, so I have to continue on them. Great. So we are making the pause here, then we have the tick method, and in here again we want to call into self.currentFocusTimer.tick, which has this logic in it. And relevant for us is that we update the time left. And I can actually, let me actually make it even more simple. So we're going to keep the full logic in there. And I'm just going to say timers running equals self.currentFocusTimer.running, because it is making that change already. That way I can even get rid of this and I'm still able to connect things. And same here. So how did we know that what the time left was? So we just call into self.currentFocusTimer.timeLeft is the new value of time left. That looking nice. This should actually work as well. Self is immutable. Public mutating func. Oops. What am I doing wrong here? Cannot assign property self is immutable. How is that immutable? Yeah, I have to make it mutating. There you go. And this should be public or should not be public. Do we have to call it from anywhere? Not really. Let's keep it internal. Same here. Mutating function tick. And we also have the completing function. Same here. Mutating function complete. And again, we're going to run self.currentFocusTimer to complete. And then we have to update the running and just the running state. So we just call self.timer is running equals self.currentFocusTimer running. So we could also go for one method here. We could have also done something like mutating func update state. And then we could, but no, we couldn't, because we have different actions here. We have to make a different call each time. So return from initializer without initializing all stored properties. Now we have stored properties again, and we have to set them, and we just basically call into these things at the start. And time left as well. Oops. Come on. Configured on timer feature tests. Timer feature. Let's build. Now the build is passing. Rename stop to pause. Provide stop button early. Okay, that was a warning that we had added ourselves, and it's here. Okay, so we don't need these file lines anymore. We're doing that basically in those methods down below. Now we have to make sure that in our reducer we call into the states functions, and the states function will call the actual object. Go to our timer reducer, and we no longer need this refresh thing because we now have the states back again. We have state.current focus timer running true. Yeah, this change we basically could do, but actually what we want to do here is we want the state to do this. So it's start button pressed, and we're setting this running. So we don't have a method to make that yet. We have the pause, we have the basically we have to make a continue or start or play. Let's make it play, because play is like a combination of start and continue for me. And yeah, kind of like pause is pausing it, we play it, and for play we just say self.current focus timer the running equals true. Could actually be a method in there as well. Let's make it consistent, let's add it here. Public func play, oops, self.running equals true, and we're not doing anything else here. So let's just call play here, self.current focus timer.play. And now each time we make a change, we could actually update both of these together. Sometimes they change, sometimes they don't, but basically it's going to help. So let's make a private function, update, update local state with focus timer. And we just say self, because I see it's repeating, we're always doing the same things. And we want to update the timer is running like this. And we want to update the time left like this. And now we can also basically try this, update local state. I think it will not work, but let's try. It is working, so nice. Actually make it a self call. Self is immutable, yeah, it has to be mutating function. Okay, yeah, this doesn't work because I have to set all store properties first. I was expecting that. Cool, we have play, and basically we have to call into this now, self.update local state, and we can basically call this each time we make a change here, because we're always updating all fields. There we go. And we can call into play now in our reducer. Let's see if this builds. Yeah. So instead of setting this explicitly, we just say state.play. And this does make changes to the object. So we could actually also try to move this away into the core data file. Let's stick with this call for now. Let's keep it simple. So what else? Here we're making a change, and here we change it to state.pause. No need for the force refresh UI. Let's remove that actually. So this should be removed. Okay, so we have the tick method here, and again we're just going to call state.tick. Gorham, aber guten Abend, gutes Gelingen, liebe Grüße. Yeah, good evening, and yeah, be successful. Thank you, Orhan Baba. Thank you for joining in the stream and also for writing in the chat. How are you doing? Wie geht's? Ich hoffe, alles gut. Okay, here is the toggle. State current focus timer completed. Should be fine. Again, we're changing state. So in this case, we're changing just the UI state. We're not changing anything in the database. So this is fine. And this can be removed. And here we're setting the entire object. I think this actually also should be a logic in the state. So let's actually move this whole thing into the state. Let's just make a new one, which I'm just going to call mutating func reset. And this basically sets the current focus timer. with, okay, we have to provide the environment here. And everything else looks nice to me. This should build. Mutating func, there you go. And we don't have append here. Cool, let's go back here. And we just imported that from here, right? Yeah. So let's just call into reset. Pass on the environment. No longer needed to call this. Replace categories and placeholder. Okay, that's to-dos for store. So let's add it here. And users last runout duration, same here. Cool. Yadit or Yedit, welcome to the stream. What made you choose Swift over React Native? So Swift, basically, very simple answer there. React Native wasn't even thought of when I started doing iOS development back in 2010, 2011. So React Native just didn't exist. And I was never a web developer. I started as an app developer right after my university, or even during my university time. So basically, that's why I basically stick to it. And after Swift was announced in 2014. Oh, Alex Repti, welcome to the stream. So great to have someone here who I actually also know and who's an iOS developer. So how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. So that's the answer, Yedit, that basically I started as an iOS developer, a native iOS developer with Objective-C back then. And when 2014, I actually won a student scholarship from Apple in 2014. And so I went to the Worldwide Developer Conference from Apple. And in that year, during that conference, in the keynote, Apple announced the language Swift. And I was so excited back then. It was really, really a great time back then. And I started right away in that week, starting developing fully in Swift, which was really not a good idea back then because Swift, the very first versions were really not that well yet. And there was a lot of changes, but that's how it started. Gotcha, I also started with Swift as my first language when they dropped Swift 1. Started React Native about 4 months ago, very intuitive and easy to pick up. I've never actually really tried out React Native. For me, it has never been an option because I personally prefer native development, and I actually also do development on Android with Kotlin. So I do native development there as well, and I love that as well. It's really great. I'm not really as experienced as in iOS, but I like also Kotlin as a great language. And that's how I basically implement apps in both iOS and also on Android. Before SwiftUI, UI constraints were so annoying. That was my breakpoint. Yeah, I totally get that. UIKit was kind of, it was not fun. Let's just put it like that at all times. And there was also so many different ways you could do it. You could do UI in the interface builder. You could do UI in the code. And you could do in Objective-C and in Swift. It was really, you could do it many ways. And I can understand if that's like not the most fun. But with SwiftUI, it's all getting much better now. It's really fun too. Doing these things, and while it's not fully complete yet, so still a few things missing, like last time we tried to get out from the SwiftUI color, so maybe I have it even here, color extension, there you go. When we tried to build a hex string from a SwiftUI color, we actually had to go back into UIKit because at least I couldn't find a way to get the RGB values from a SwiftUI color. So that was like one of the restrictions we still have in SwiftUI, but it's really a lot of fun. And for Android also, I'm looking forward to Jetpack Compose. I'm going to use that as well in one of my first Android apps when I have the time to do that. So that's my approach to multi-platform. I just try to stay native. Also, I learned from others that basically when you develop in React Native or something like that, while you are having one code base where you basically can have all the logic for both platforms, if you want to really build a great native app and use a lot of native features and things like that, it is possible to do that, but you're going to need to somehow integrate the frameworks and then have like a special code base part for iOS and a special one for Android. And the more you get into this native thing, basically in the end, you will also have to do kinds of code bases in that one code base. That's at least what I heard from some who did that. So actually some companies reverted back into native development, and that's just like the trade-off there. I don't know if you've heard of Expo. No, I don't know about Expo, but most of the native tools are available for both. With both, you mean like for React Native as well? Yeah, the tools are available. The only thing is that the advantage of React Native being one code base kind of disappears when you have like two code bases again. I am just so new to all of this, but I know I want to ultimately build with Swift. Sure, yeah, so what do you mean by you're new to this? You're new to programming overall, or to Swift and iOS? Megan Wilson, those were the main reasons why I didn't go to React Native. I think it's a trade-off question, and I always wanted to stay native. Well, let me see also about Expo app development, if I can find something about that. So Expo Dev is an open source. Okay, let's go back. The description was fine. Open source for making universal native apps for Android, iOS, and yeah, like the part that is problematic to me is this word here. And even if this was TypeScript, I just don't like JavaScript. I just love Swift with it for all the features it has, for the static typing, for like just the fact that I can make things just be correct. And with JavaScript, you can write a lot of incorrect code. And that's just why I personally don't like JavaScript that much. But I can totally understand if other people actually like that aspect, that you can write code that maybe isn't perfect and it will somehow still continue on. And it's just a thing that is my preference. And React is based on JavaScript, and that's why I never tried it out. And yeah, that's it basically. And for Flutter, again, with Flutter, if you go native, you will have two code bases in the end. Okay, type in any native tool in Expo. It will be there, JavaScript and location, anything you need. You can use TypeScript as well as fine. Yeah, again, TypeScript for me, TypeScript is the same story for me like PHP, where PHP was never an object-oriented programming language, and then they just added that on top of it, and it just never was like working really fine. And yeah, it's just like a difference if you design something from the ground up for something. It's like when I think about privacy, if you design an app or a project with privacy in mind from the start. Ooh, follower goal, Matt, 50 of 50. Wow, yay, thank you for following. And you're actually the one person who made me reach my follower goal of 50 followers, because with 50 followers, I can actually apply for becoming a Twitch affiliate. So thank you very much for following me. And I'm really happy now that I actually reached this goal. Yeah, thank you. You got it to 50. That's absolutely correct. Happy to help. I'm glad that you did that. So yeah, what I want to say is I'm on my way as well. Haha. So you're also streaming? Megan, yeah, thank you. Let's go. Yeah, that's really cool. So I was really not sure if I'm going to reach it today, because I have like on average 2 more followers during the stream. Most followers actually follow between the streams. I'm streaming my RN project. What is an RN project? React Native project. Okay, I see. What are you developing there? I'm curious to know. But Expo, let me actually keep this open in the back. This also, yeah. Let me just keep this open. I might have a look at it after the stream. Maybe it's kind of interesting. I'm making an app for dog owners. That's interesting. So I'm not a dog owner yet. Maybe I want to be at some point in the future. But what does your app do for dog owners? Let's try to continue here. So we have the timer feature, iOS app. Now, basically, I hope that this UI refresh works, and we have a failing here. So something wrong. Yeah, we have removed this, so we no longer need the refresh UI call. So I'm making an app for dog owners. Expo is really nice. People can mark their dog as lost and send alerts to people nearby. And people can see other dogs in their area. So you say like, my dog is lost, and you just specify the area more or less, and others who have the same app installed are going to see that? Or is it like integrated with some tooling? Something like that? Are you using some hardware? For example, you could use the Find My. Basically, are you using or considering using that as well? Because Find My can really help. Yeah, find things. There's also an API for that, but let's go back to our app here. Start. So this is definitely Still some issues here, but the UI is refreshing. So that was the thing that we want to fix first. So the UI is refreshing. Again, let me actually stage that. I want to see what have we changed. So this is the rename. This is the connection of the child reducer, and I can see we have this assertion commented out, which I'm going to unstage because we don't want to commit that. We actually want to keep that assertion. Yeah, anyone that has the app in the area. Okay, I see. So you're trying to create a network, which I definitely wish you good luck, but I just want to say it's really hard. Where basically you're creating an app where you need a community in order for the app to have a lot of value, and it's always really hard to get enough people in there, so more people start installing your app because they get value out of it. So maybe you definitely, something I suggest to you is definitely add features in the app that are not related to this finding feature, because otherwise you will really have a hard time getting people on board. But add some like reminder feature or something like that. Yeah, I understand that the lost feature is just the intro. Okay, just the intro, you mean like the first feature and then you're going to add more features? If that's the case, then I would recommend definitely make sure that you not keep it the only first feature. Make sure that you have at least one more feature, first feature. Add one more other feature, because as I said, this is not a good first feature in the way that you want it to attract more people to install your app. You should have one more useful feature as well. You can explore a map too and see dogs nearby. Oh, that's cool. That might be interesting. So what's like the use case? You want to take a walk with your dog and then you want to see other dogs as well? Is it something like that? You can check it out. Sure, yeah, send me you can feel free to send a link here. Dog watch app. Let's open that. I see the timer, by the way, has passed. Oh, I haven't started. My fault. I have to start the timer manually. Okay, now we have the timer started. I'm gonna actually change the setting here. So let's make the flow start automatically as well. Okay. So a community for dog owners, explore, register, login. Cool. So it's already kind of finished. Let's not try it out now, but I will definitely check it out later. Thank you for the link. My break on you, map doesn't work on Web Pro. Okay, then I wouldn't have seen anything anyways. Let's get back to coding though. So here we have the action, and we added some, did appear, oh, actually we just moved things down. So it looks like we have made a lot of changes, but we just moved things down. Here we have the timer state on the timer feature and the action. So we haven't committed that yet. That's interesting. The if-let store is still here. The default focus timer length. So this was the refactoring we did last time with the translation changes. And now the reducer is just calling play on the state. Yeah. Pause, tick. This is all looking good to me. Timer store. This is no longer... Okay, this was also something that we were thinking about. Should this be optional or not? Don't let me distract you. No worries, no worries. Feel free to distract me. You can still see the dogs in your area. Just a visual map won't be there. Stupid compatibility issue. I see. Yeah, you're gonna figure it out, I'm sure. And no worries with distracting me. I just don't want to distract you for a long time, but absolutely make sure that you ask me. Like that's the reason I'm streaming. I want to provide value for my viewers, so they should learn from how I'm developing, but they can also ask me anything. And I do have an app review part actually at the start of the stream. If you haven't seen that before, you can also check out my YouTube. I have older streams there. There you can see that. I'm reviewing apps and trying to give feedback, useful feedback for the users, for the developers, so they can basically act on the things that I've said in the stream. I'm trying to just think aloud in those app reviews so they can understand what a new user might be doing and thinking when they use their app. So maybe you want to also apply for that as well. You can check out my Twitter where I have basically all the details there. Yeah, let me actually share the detail here, so you can see the link to that here. Cool. So this is last time we were thinking about making this an optional or not, and I opted for not making it optional, which was, I'm not sure still if this is the right decision, but we're going to stay with that now, and we can still refactor later. The timer view. Yeah, we fixed the mix here. We have added the mocked extension. And this is the tests changes. And actually, I think we can make a new commit now. We just say refactor timer reducer, timer logic. Let's just call it like that. Timer logic. Connect to root app entry and fix some translations. Fix translations. We're one too much. Refactor time logic, connect to app entry. Let's just call it app entry. Cool. I do want to make a commit. And Swift format ran, so this is our pre-commit hook that we have configured. So Swift format is reformatting our code the way we want. And this I can stage. Oops, now I have staged that as well. Oh, what I'm doing here. Oh, this reformatted a lot as well. So we do want to just stage everything except for this, where was the line? This one, this assertion line. We don't want to stage that. And let's just stage and stage. Oops, I've unstaged now. Seriously. There we go again. Unstage. Now we can commit that. Let's amend it to the last commit. Cool. I'm not going to push it yet because we might actually amend again once we fix the timer as well. So what's the current state? Let me run the app again. Let's just have a look at the actions that are happening. Also, let me make sure that I have the app uninstalled on the simulator, so we have an empty database we can start with. So let's also hide this and let's build. Oops. Let's build. Okay. Volaxus, thank you very much for following me. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? So you're the 51st actually. So if you were here like 10 minutes before, you would have been the person who would make my goal of 50 followers fulfill. But yeah, that's also the first one after I fulfilled that goal. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so this is the app and we want to see what if this works and if the timer stops and why it doesn't stop. So if I click just the start button, it does count down as we want it to count down. And when it reaches 0, we have the alert show up. If I click OK, it disappears, but we can see the timer is still running. So this never stops, and that's the bug we have right now. Next stop, 1,000 followers, 7. Yeah, thank you very much. 1,000 followers would be great, but I'm not looking for 1,000 followers yet. I think that's going to be sometime in the future, later this year, probably. And also for your information, I'm preparing some kind of YouTube course for starting iOS developers. And I believe that that could also help to get more people interested in my content here, because I think it's hard if you're not like a beginner iOS developer or something like that, and also if you don't know how I'm working, which frameworks I'm using, to really follow what I'm doing here. And I hope that that's going to help as well to understand what I'm actually doing. But let's fix this first. So this annoys me because it's running. Let me just go here. Okay. So what happened? Just that's the cool thing also about the composable architecture. I have set up this, let me show this again. In my reducer, I set up this debug actions call, and this just outputs our actions here. And if I had removed these actions here and just said debug, it would even output each state change and the full state that I have there, which is too much for me to read, but sometimes it's also helpful to see all of that. Okay. So first we received did appear, makes sense. The app started, then we received the start button press. I clicked on the start button. Then the other reducer, I received the start button pressed, which is the smaller reducer. This is the app entry point reducer. This is the timer reducer. And then the timer ticked. The timer ticked again. This is 2 seconds past, 3, 4, 5 seconds past here. Now, the set time is up alert was presented, and the is presented was set to true, which is basically making sure that we show our alert there. But I see that it's just continuing to tick the timer here, and then later And it's each time it's setting it to true again. So the alert is being presented again and again because the timer is never stopped. So basically our issue is that we have to stop the timer. So let's go to the timer reducer. And we expect that when the timer ticked and the focus timer is completed, that we basically want to stop the timer there. And maybe that's just missing here. So let's just say, well, where's the timer actually running? So we're creating the effect here and we just want to cancel the effect. So we're going to, am I not using it anywhere? So the timer ID, I had this here. Okay, we are canceling. Until now we were canceling it here. Pause timer requested. Okay, let's try out if this works. Let me just restart the app. Okay, I start. It does count. Okay. Okay, I can pause. Okay, pausing does work. So this is basically how we can make sure that the timer stops running by just calling into the cancel effect, which is again provided by the TCA architecture. And we just need to call this when the timer is completed, which is exactly here. And we can just do that by saying, okay, we want to show this alert, but at the same time, we also want to cancel the alert at the timer. So let's just say merge. And then we have this init action or effect, and we have the cancel effect. And we are canceling the ID of the timer. Comma, and let's see if this builds. Maybe because you have timer reset instead of stop. Is it recursing? No. I think that's not the case. I just forgot to call the cancel action here when the timer has basically when the timer is up. I have to call it here too. I'm just calling it right now when the pause timer is requested. Timer reset requested. State reset. Yeah, I moved the logic here and this basically broke it, I think. So let's run it now. It's not building. It is building. So let's also reset the database. I have to just delete this here. I think that's the fastest way of doing it. Let's go again. Cool, gotcha, yeah. I think that's the case, but we'll see. So starting the timer, it is counting down, and at 0 it should show the alert, but the timer should stop. And we have an issue here, so okay, let's read it. Found unexpected null pointer value while trying to cast the value of time and its timer. Okay, but what happened before that? Found unexpected, okay. Timer action timer ticked. App entry point action timer, okay. So it's ticking and then something goes wrong. I'm not really sure what's the issue, but it is going wrong in here. Maybe I have to call them one after the other and not at the same time. Not sure why that should be the case, but let's just use concatenate instead of merge. Because merge runs them at the same time and concatenate should... Oh, no, I know what the issue is. That's just a typo, so I have to call the timer ID. So this is the type we have created. We made it hashable, and this just makes sure that when we start our timer effect, which is done here, we pass it an ID and we just create an object of this struct. And this just makes, like, this is hashable, so comparing two timer IDs to each other should have the same ID. I just forgot the ID here. I think that's the issue. And we could still use concatenate, but let's just stick with merge. Let me run again. Now it should work. Let's start the timer. Oh. To reset the database. There's still the saving and storing the database still doesn't work. That's the next thing we're going to fix. But let's go step by step. That's what I forgot last time, to go step by step. And then by the second half of the stream, I was not really efficient. I was making a lot of mistakes, and this is now the situation we're in. Okay, so it is running down. Should show the alert, and the timer should be gone. Okay, the timer doesn't run anymore, but we also want it to reset, and it's not resetting. So that's the next thing we're going to fix. So we do have actually this thing here, set time is up alert. We set it to true. And here it says if it is set to false. So if this gets called with is presented to false, we actually want to call into timer reset requested. And if we reset the timer, this is basically creating a new focus timer object and not making any other change. I actually think that this is already, if I go into this, oops, let's go our focus timer extension. If I create this, this is actually setting the timer runout duration to this time interval. Timer runout duration, there you go, to the default timer runout duration, which is 5 seconds. So it should actually work, but I think we're still having the same issue that we had at the beginning of the stream, that SwiftUI didn't recognize a change in our state, because we do have a state here, which is a focus timer, and this is the reference value. And I believe that somehow this makes it not work, that SwiftUI recognizes that this has actually changed. And the question is how can we yeah, basically what we're missing here, what we're doing here everywhere else, we're making this call to update local state, and I think this is just what we're missing in here. Let's just add it below the warning. And now it should update the time left. So the time left to 5 seconds after it has created a new current focus timer. I believe that was the issue. So let's also delete the app again so we can reset the database. Oops. And let's rerun this. Cool, let's see if our timer works now. Should count down to 0, show the alert, timer should stop, and after I click OK, it should reset to 5 seconds. And it does. The question is, should we reset it right away when it is showing the alert, or should we reset after the alert has disappeared? I think this is fine after the alert has disappeared, so I'm going to keep it as it is. But now I think that the whole feature is working again, and thus let's actually add this to our commit from before. This is all right, and this is the one assert we want to. Actually, let's add the assert as well. Let's revert this back. Let's discard the changes here. So we have the state before. Let's amend this. And now I want to see what happens if I run my tests. In theory, they could now be working again. But I have the feeling that because we changed a lot, this is still not going to work. Let's see what happens. Build succeeded, but the tests are running now. Okay, let's see what happens. So the tests are not passing. Let's go step by step. First thing, we're sending a start button pressed action. We're expecting the timer's running state to be true. And actually, the reason why we changed this to this XCT assert and not the way that typically it is for the composable architecture is because we had removed them as stored properties, but we now have them back again. So I think we can actually reset this, or a lot of this, back to what we had before, which is this. So the difference, just to state that, currently we're doing this send action and then we're asserting. Gotta get started on my day as well. Good luck today. Thank you for joining my stream. How do I say your name? Is it Yadit? What's like the right way to say that? But definitely good luck also with your work. So feel free to get started. Thank you for being here. Yadit. Okay. Yadit. Yadit, thank you for joining me, and just join me next time as well, or anytime, and have a good one. Okay, so what I was expressing right now will do. Great. So store sent, start button pressed, is basically still the action. This is the same thing, but usually in the composable architecture, you just get this closure where you get past the state, and then in this closure, you can change the state to the state which you expect to have after basically the action. So I run this action and I expect after this action happened, the state timer is running to change to true. And this is how you typically assert basically in the composable architecture. And we had to change it because we removed this as a stored property. So it was no longer possible to set a value because it was a get only property. And yeah, now we can revert it back actually to what we had before. And let me go one by one. This is still the same. Let me actually revert this whole thing. So all these things here, I want to revert. What about this here? Test persistent controller. Okay, this is new. We were starting to store things into the database. So we want to keep this. And we have the state environment created here. It's kind of different, you know. Okay. Let me actually reset it at a state before this commit. And let's check it out. Let me just run this. Let's see what happens. Sevens, I'm still here. Cool. What are you doing, Sevens? Okay, timer env. Yeah, we don't have the timer env anymore. Instead, we have an app env. Actually, I think we can just copy and paste things that we have already fixed. And what we have deleted here is this code. So let's get this back. Come on, Xcode, please don't hang. Is Xcode also hanging for you sometimes? I don't know. I just upgraded to macOS 12.2 yesterday. So I hope that will fix it, but still not fixed. And this is also the latest Xcode. Come on. That's really hanging right now. I hope the stream is not hanging though. But I think it's just like an Xcode. Okay, persistence controller, manage object context. Okay, we have to import this as well. And also import utility. Ah, come on, Xcode. It's really hanging a lot right now. Come on. Is the stream hanging? Can somebody give feedback? Oh god. I think I will restart Xcode. Can't work like this. Let's also close the simulator. Let's try here. Okay, we're adding here the import of utility. And we have this code here. We also need this stuff. Megan Wilson, is it even an iOS stream if you don't have to force quit Xcode? Or a Swift dev stream? Yeah, kind of true. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that. Actually, I didn't have to force quit Xcode in any of my previous streams. So maybe that's like the good news there. Let me try to copy this again. But it happens all the time. I did have issues with the SwiftUI previews though. That was crashing all the time. State and env. We have the focus timer, state and env now. Okay, this is the new approach. Creating it, passing these stuff, creating the state, and the state now should have more again. So I think this is not going to build. I rarely have to also, but I like to make jokes sometimes. Yeah, true. I mean, there's like some common jokes amongst iOS Swift developers, etc. And Xcode crashing is one of them for sure. And the other one is like when your build is just taking forever. And I remember times where I used the dependency manager Carthage, and sometimes really when you checked out Moya, for example, which had a dependency to Args Swift, Args reactive Cocoa and stuff like that, it really checked out for a very long time and was building for long. I can really remember that. It even bugged me to create my own dependency manager, yeah, before Swift package manager was out. So yeah, interesting times there. Focus timer. Oh wait, do we just need that? Oh, we still just need that in our initializer because our initializer is calling to the update method. Even though we have more properties, it should still work. And this is then all there. Let's build. Let's see what fails when we build. Okay, cannot find persistence controller. Should be in. Oh, our add testable import is gone. Let's build again. Custom time left, no in scope. How did we do it last time? Custom time left. There is no custom time left here. So I'm creating the focus timer. Oh, there is a custom time left. Okay. They were just deleted. No. Let's continue. We have stop button pressed. Timer has no member, stop button pressed. I think we renamed it to pause. Yeah, too many posts from stream elements for sure. I will make sure that I reduce that after the stream. Last time it didn't fire because probably there was too few people in the chat. Now it's too much. Pause, and we have time is up. Okay, I think we kind of changed this. But did we just rename it? Timer reset requested, time is up. I'm not sure how this was fought last time. Let's have a look at the state before. So we had the timer reducer, restore. We had time, we just deleted that. Okay, so we just don't need it. Let's just say we don't expect it to be received, but let's keep it in the comments so we can understand if something fails here. Okay, build is running, succeeding. Now the question is, what part of the test is going to fail? It's running. And some fails, so when the task scheduler, I'm advancing it many times, so 25 minutes by 1 second. It basically says that the timer is running is set to full. Okay, we have to take a break, so this is our second break. And I'll be back in 2 minutes. And I will, or actually let me try to fix that first. So I will change it to the scene of Okay, that was kind of crazy. Are there any books or online guides you recommend for beginners? I think it depends first what you want to do, because there are a lot of good books and online guides, but it really depends on what you want to work on. So is there a specific platform or something like that you're aiming for? Is it iOS development? If it's iOS development, I can give you a clear answer there for now. So if it's iOS development, just go to Hacking with Swift. Cool. So I can definitely recommend basically everything that you can find on Hacking with Swift is really, really good, and it's totally up to date. And this is done by a person called Paul Hudson. So I'm sure there is a mention of him. Here you go. This is Paul Hudson, and he creates basically free tutorials all the time. And there's also a lot of subscribe things here and paid things, but there's also a lot of free things. And what I can recommend definitely is when you go to the Learn section here and just take the challenge of 100 days of SwiftUI. Perfect, love hacking with Swift. I am on day 7 of 100 days challenge. Nice. Which challenge are you taking? This is the old challenge with UI Kit. Make sure you take the SwiftUI one. 100 days of SwiftUI was just updated for the stuff from wwdc last year. Exactly, I saw that also on Twitter. So this is amazing. Just watch the first video. He explains how this all works in the video, and then just take this challenge, and you'll do some progress every day. And this is definitely a really good source for a resource for learning Swift development or iOS development and just getting started. But I have to also say, and I mentioned this already in the stream, I am working on a course myself. It's not going to be similar or a direct competition to Paul Hudson. I think he creates amazing stuff and I can't compete with that. But I'm going to create something for absolutely total beginners from my point of view. And one thing that he's not doing in his stuff is he's not really opinionated. So he's trying to teach you like basics everywhere, and then you just continue from there. What I prefer a little bit more is to have a more opinionated approach where I also give you, for example, a suggestion for which architecture to use, how you do your tests, and just more opinionated kind of guide. Because what I basically feel like can also be interesting is, as an alternative to like a general approach, is if you have a approach where you have everything thought out from the start to finish, including database, how you should save things like that, and how, for example, also you can research. I'm not sure if he does that, but do you know how to search for questions and solve them online? This is actually one of the most important skills for any developer. You have to be able to search for things. My wife actually always, when she wants to buy something, like, I don't know, she wants to buy a new present for my nephew or something like that, and she just wants to find something, and there's like a lot of options to choose from, and then she doesn't know, and she's having a hard time to finding the right thing for the right price, things like that. And even there, I noticed that she's not able to find that, and just leaves it to me, and I'm able to find it right away. And I think one of the reasons for that is that part of our work as developers is actually searching things online. This is just an integral part of our work, and it's really important to be able to do that. And I think with experience you will learn that as well. And things like that I want to also give some tips on. Yeah, but that's in the summer, so don't wait. If you want to get started, just start with 100 Days of SwiftUI. It's absolutely amazing. Awesome, this is what I've been working on. Nice. Okay, let's get back. Our timer is counting back, cool. State change does not match expectations. Yes, that was this was the thing that failed. And so what we did here is, last thing we did was start button. We press the start button and we expected the timers running to be true. And then we advanced time. This is how we control time by 1 second. Then we received the timer ticked, which is exactly what we expected. And we expected the time left to be changed to 24 minutes and 59 seconds. By the way, if you don't know this notation, it's a extension on time interval that I have in my framework Handy Swift. So if you want to check that out, you can also find that on GitHub. It's all open source, so if you want to check that out, feel free to do that. Then test scheduler advance, we are advancing it by 24 minutes and 59 seconds. And we are saying basically we expect to receive timer ticked all this time long, and the expected state is always 1 second less. So in here, our state is failing because the timer is running is being set to false. Okay, I guess that's happening at the last time we called this. So let's actually make this 58 just to see if that's actually the issue here. So I'm expecting this to no longer, yeah, so this was the last time thing. Okay, let's think logically. So we start at 25 minutes. This is what we set it up for, 25 minutes. Then we pass one by 1 second, and we have 24:59 left. Then we are passing 24:59. Of course, it makes sense that we actually get this down. So this is actually correct, and it should be 58. Okay, let's run this again. Okay, this is passing. Now we have 1 second left. We are saying, okay, advance it by 1 more second. We expect to receive the timer ticked action, and also we expect to receive the pause action. It's not actually happening. Timer is running, and okay, actually we are receiving that probably, but the state isn't as expected. So the state we expect to get is this to be still true, but we actually get it set to false, which makes sense. I think we had this logic to be that the timer is stopped later somehow. And this actually makes sense though. Or wait a second, maybe we were calling, is this not getting called at all? Ah, okay, so previously when the timer ticked and the time was over, we called into pause timer requested. Because it makes sense, we're basically pausing the timer. So we could actually go back and keep it that way. So when the timer is ticked and our timer is completed, we are now just canceling this, and we're not calling into the pause timer action, which is pause button pressed, pause timer requested. There you go. Here we would already stop the timer because we're canceling, and that's actually what we can do here too. So we can just say here, call into the state pause timer requested. And then we no longer have to do this cancellation. And now let's go back. Let's run a test again and see what happens now. Okay, this is not passing. Run again. Cool. Now we have state change does not match the expectation, so it expects these things to change right after clicking timer ticked. Why is that happening? Let me go back to the reducer. So when the timer has ticked, we are calling into this and into this, and also we are making the tick here. And it seems the tick is changing some data. So we're ticking and then we're updating the state. When we're ticking, this can actually, this actually has this check, and it, okay, this is the thing now. This automatically completes the timer at the moment the tick reaches down to 0. And therefore, when this update is called, it actually makes a state change. So here in our timer tick is already changing the state. And that's something I think we can definitely, what happens when we call pause after calling into complete? So current focus timer pause, running set to false, pause count, pause equals 1. Actually, we don't want to count the pause count, so maybe it's not a good idea to call into this after all. So maybe this was actually the right approach, just to cancel the timer. And then we run this again. The state change here also makes sense now. So let's call this expected state. And our expected state is to, okay, when the timer is ticked and it has completed, we want the timer is running to be false. And we also time left to be 0. What else was different? Yeah, that's basically the difference there. Next, we received, we expected pause timer requested, but actually we received set time is up alert. So we no longer have this call. That's why we can basically remove this. Let's actually run the test again. I'm just going to use Command U. I think we're in the right place here. EasyFib is here, welcome, hello friends, how's your day? It's going really great. We have reached our goal of 50 followers, and there's actually already 51 followers, so I can turn on the affiliate switch, I guess, after this stream, because I'm going to have 7 streams then fulfilled and also 50 followers. So really good going there. Also, we fixed our UI, now it's working again, and now we're trying to fix the tests, and now we're going to continue. Okay, last thing here in the test that's missing. Congratulations, thank you, man, thank you very much. I also wanted to know how, can I say your name here? Let's ask that first, because maybe you want to stay anonymous here. I don't want to spoil things. Current focus timer, time left 5 seconds, so I don't see a sub button. Yeah, it's not there yet, because I have to still turn it on after the stream, because I have to have 7 streams within the last 30 days. And basically today is our 7th stream, so after the stream I should be able to turn it on. So on Friday you should be able to click that button. Yes, of course you can. So I just wanted to know how to say your name correctly. Is it Irakli or something else? How to say your name, so I know how to refer to you. Okay, we are getting, it's saying that the focus timer is removed here and another one is created here. I guess it's just stating that there's a different reference. Yeah, that was correct. Actually, perfect. Like Irakli? How did I say that? I just forget already. Irakli? I don't know. Okay. Anyways, welcome to the stream, Irakli. How are you doing? Time left is set to 1,500, which is, I think, 25 minutes, right? Yeah. Yep, that's correct. Cool. How was your day? Struggling with UIKit. I can imagine that. So what exactly are you learning on UIKit? There's also a lot of things you can learn on UIKit. You can learn simple APIs like how UI views are layered and things like that. Are you building on interface builder, or are you building in code? Time left 5 seconds. So I'm basically calling reset, and then it should be set back to the default. And it's saying that I expect it to be 25 minutes, but it's using the 5 seconds. Okay, that's the issue here. I'm going through some books now, not my personal projects. Okay, I see. Cool. I think also, we just talked about it here, hacking with Swift. I think the code path called 100 Days of Swift is actually learning UIKit. I think this is a UIKit project. Is it mentioned here? In the next free project, we'll be edging a little further away from UIKit. Explore my map. So you can see this is a 100 days project from Hacking with Swift, and I can really recommend that. And this is one that is based on UIKit. Yeah, 100 Days of Swift is UIKit, exactly. And 100 Days of Swift UI, it's not in there because back then he couldn't have known that there is going to be something like a Swift UI released. Or I think maybe this was also created later, but anyways, this is UIKit if you want to learn that. It's a great place. Yes, it's UIKit. I've done SwiftUI and I will do UIKit version as well. Cool. But good luck with UIKit. It's kind of outdated. I'm not sure how outdated it can be given that UIKit hasn't had really large changes. I think UI button was the largest change in the last year. So I think also as a starter, you just want to know the basics. And I think it's going to be updated enough. SwiftUI changes a lot in the recent years, but UIKit not so much. Store, receive. Okay, so we had a feature before where we were storing the last selected time interval by the user, and we no longer have it, and that's why this is failing. So we expected it to be reset to 25 minutes. It's not happening. So let's add back this feature again. Okay, we are in the timer store and we are creating here a new focus timer when we reset. And here we're calling into default timer runner duration. And this one, we were used to setting this to a value that was provided by a test. So we could actually do that again. So whenever we start this with, let's go back to our tests. So we are creating a store, we are creating a focus timer. Here you go. So we're passing our custom focus timer when creating. And what we could simply do, let's go into the init method. It's in our extension. So what we could do is in the init method, we could change actually this here, and it's also variable, so should work. We just say self.default timer runner duration set to the newly provided running timer runner duration. And this could actually fix it. Let's try the tests again. Test failed. So this is fixed now, so this works. And now it's saying basically that the current focus timer, it was expecting this object and it was a different object. And this is to be expected because we're resetting the timer. The question is, how can we compare these and make sure that it ignores that? And yeah, that's a good question. How can we make it, because it's creating a new object there. We basically want to tell it it should ignore the change on that property. How can we tell it in the test to ignore that? I'm not sure if there is even an option to do that. Expected state dot focus. Okay, so I'm expecting that here when it compares these two objects, it's using equatable. So maybe we could extend focus timer and make it equatable somehow and make it equate to. I just want to actually ignore that. I expect it to change here. How can I make sure that this works? Can I say something here like, hello, what's up? Batulambu, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? What's up? Yeah, we're working on our tests. We have fixed the UI and now the timer is running again. And we have connected with the database, although we might have to still fix some things here and there. Current focus timer. I just want to ignore this in the test. So we have this assertion tool, and I just want to know if that's even possible. So let's actually go to the Composable Architecture. on GitHub and see if we can somehow ignore that. Fine, thanks. Cool. How was your day? Okay, so we were looking for ignore state property. I want to ignore a specific state property to run accurate tests for state mutation with custom equality implementation. That sounds related. So they have an item here, and in the test store. Okay, we don't think it's a good idea to rely on a stringified output of types in order to test for equality. Yeah, that's true. Worth mentioning. Okay. Let's see if there's another one. Text field value diverges. Better support enum state, multiple levels, API for constructing stateless. I'm not really sure. We could make our timer store, our state object here, equatable and make it ignore the focus timer. But is that a good idea? So is our focus timer part of our actual state here? Maybe not, because we're actually only calling into the update function and then storing the things and fetching them out of the state and storing in these fields. And we're never calling into this directly. But we are, or do we have any computer properties? I don't see any computer properties, so we are not really relying on this. The question is, should it even stay here? It's a good question. Current focus timer. I think it should stay here because it's kind of the related model. It's not perfect, so I might remove it if I have like more stuff in my app, but for now I think we can keep it here, and I will just try to ignore it. So I will override the equatable. So I will just actually remove it from here. Let's say like extension, timer, state, state. Let's make it equatable. And now when we make it equatable, we just implement our own static func equals left hand side of type self and right hand side of type self, returns a boolean. So this returns if it's the same or not, and it is the same if left hand side. And then we have these three here, which are really relevant for us. So we want the alert to be the same as on the right hand side, and the timers running to be the same as on the right hand side, and the time left to be the same as on the right hand side. And if that's the case, let's get this into their own lines. And if all of them are the same, then these are the same basically. And must be declared public. Yeah, sure. Now this could pass. Let's try again, because it should now ignore the focus timer. And there we go, our tests are passing. We are checking that it all works, and if we run the app also, it should also still all work with all the changes we've made. Let's start the time. Okay, it's 0. Okay, reset to 5 seconds now. I think it was due to we had some data on the database. That's something we have to fix. But if we start a new one, counts down, reaches 0, says time is up, and resets to 5. That's exactly what we wanted. And all is working now. So we can actually commit all the changes. Let's have a second look. That's also something I can recommend always, to always have a look before you commit at what changes you've made and if that's actually what you expect, because that way you can find a lot of issues. So update tests to actually fix tests of timer feature. And what else do we do? Nothing really. And re-add resetting to last provided length. Reset to last provided length. Cool. I think these can be pushed now. Nice. Let's go back to our summary here, and let's actually summarize what we've done. So we have first fixed issues with UI not updating by using internal update method in state, and now fixed the tests, or the timer test, timer feature tests. So yeah, basically that's what we did, and maybe we can even just quote what we just wrote here. I think that summarizes it pretty well. And problems blockers. Xcode was hanging and crashed, and yeah, it didn't crash, was hanging, so I had to force quit. Did we have any learnings there? Not really. Next steps continue. Let's check the next steps from last time. So we see if we have done that. So get the tests passing again. Fix specifically start action not working. That's fixed. Next thing we wanted to do is add a reflection screen with summary of the session. So these are definitely to-dos we want to continue with. And I will just add them here. But what I want to fix first is when we somehow start this and I click pause and I restart the app, I will just rerun this. I actually wanted to continue from where it paused. Let's see if that works. No, it's not working, and this is exactly what I want to fix. If I click start, yeah, it doesn't work as expected. So something is not right there. And let's just open the path to the database. We are printing the database path here. Or are we? I think we are, but only on a macOS app. So let's run the macOS app here. So we can have a look at the database and see if the data changes we expect are actually the changes that are happening. And then after that, we can see if maybe we're having a fetching or loading issue when we restart the app. But we have to make a break next, and this is going to be the longer break. So we had 2 sessions already. After the third session, there's a 5-minute break. I will probably not be gone for 5 minutes fully, but yeah, I will take a little longer break. So see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, I'm back, and I will just skip the rest of the break. Okay, so this is the Mac app, we were running that. Let's continue right away. So I wanted to know what happens with the database. That was where we were at. And when we run it on the Mac, actually, we have set it. Let me show how that works. We have in the scheme these setting flags, which basically log more things on the database, and it just logs also the whole path to the file. I can just open a terminal, just say open path to the file. I have to always add backslashes for these white spaces, and it's just 1. Now it opens in our SQLite viewer. Now we can just have a look at the focus timer in the database. So we have some focus timers here already, and yeah, there should be a new one actually added when I click the start button. And we have the pause count, the running state, and it looks like there are many running already, which is kind of crazy. And runout duration in seconds, etc. So I will just click the start button here. Where's the app? Count it 1 down, click pause, and now we're refreshing. So we have a new timer here. It is having the pause count of 1 because we clicked the pause button once. It has a running state of 0. It's not running at the moment. The running duration in seconds is 1. It's also correct. The runout duration in seconds is 5, which is the total time. Then we have started at, which is not really readable, so we might actually somehow make this more readable, but this should work for now. And focus topic is just a placeholder which put here, no end date yet. Let's continue. I'll actually let it run to the end. Okay, so it should have actually completed and a new one should have been created, which is empty and not running. Let's see what's the case. I just click refresh. Gotta run to meetings. Have a good stream. Thank you very much, Megan, for joining in. I really appreciate it, and have a good meeting. Have a nice evening and see ya. See you around. I'll definitely rejoin your stream as well. Okay, so this was our pause count is set to 1 still, which is correct. Running duration in seconds. It has run fully through, so that's also correct. It is not currently running anymore at the moment. Then it has an end date, so it is ended. And yeah, that's all we wanted. The question is, why didn't it already store the new focus timer? And I think that's because we have only created the focus timer. The wrong project. Let me close this. We have only created a focus timer in our state. So we have the timer state here. We are creating it here, but we're not calling save. And that's, I think, actually good here, because we don't want to store it unless the user has actually started a new one. But we have this issue that we have 4 of them here also. I'm not sure if I can just delete them here. That would be amazing. Delete records. Save. Refresh. Okay, actually it has worked. And if I start a new one now, just let it run to the end. It should not have any pauses. Let me refresh. Yeah, it works. So no pauses, it is not running anymore, and it is fully completed. Cool. If I now restart the app, it should not have any weird 0 or something like that issue, which we had in our iOS app. It was 0. So let's run the app again. It is 0 though. So the question is, why is this happening? Let me refresh the database. Yeah, I'm refreshing the database also here. There is no actual data that could confuse this. So this is really weird, and I just want to fix this bug now. So why is it 0? Let's go through this. So when we start the app, first we are starting with our app here. It is creating an app entry point. Are we passing any data? Only the environment state. We just call init for the state, and the init calls the state of entry point view. So we're in here. So this method gets called, and you can see nothing's happening here. We have an empty and we have a nil timer state. And then we have the did appear. Let's go to the reducer. So did appear gets called. Here we're creating our fetch request. Our fetch request, we basically fetch for any object that has an ended at unequal to nil. But why are we calling those that are not nil? We actually want to see those that are nil. So that might actually be our bug here. So what's happening here? Okay. And that should be nil. So let's restart here. Maybe that's already the fix. Because we want to see all those timers that are okay. That's maybe already the fix. So let's start. So we have one at 3 seconds. Let's restart the app. It should actually call this and reuse it. That's cool. So let me refresh this. This is also looking good. 2 seconds have passed and 5 seconds in total. I'll continue. I will pause again. It should have updated. Yeah. Let's restart the app again. Refresh, still the same, showing 2 seconds. Now I will start again. Now it's up. And now I should see this completed with an end state. Okay, that was probably the fix. Easy as that. Fix an issue with loading the latest running, or just the running timer on app start. Cool. That's fixed too. And with that, one thing we could do next, let me close this. Let's just have a look at our next steps here. So we want to add a reflection screen with a summary of the session, which is basically these 4 fields here. And we could either work on that now, or we could start actually with the database part of it. Or else, what we could also do is we could now first have a look at all our to-dos, because we always write to-dos, and see if we can fix one of them. So let's see what to-dos we have. First we have to-dos here. One was create a temporary app icon. That's something we could do at any time. Check how to run SwiftGen and Body Crouch as SwiftPM plugins. And that's the bigger one, I guess. Make sure not to have these settings turned on when archiving. That's something that's not really that important at the moment because we're not close to release. So this is something we could do now, creating a temporary app icon. Or alternatively, we could just search for warnings here, or just have a look at the warnings here, and we could fix some of them. So we do have some not yet implemented. Make 1 second more readable. So maybe I will ask the chat here, what do you prefer? Should we create an app icon that is like very simple app icon so we don't have to see this here anymore and we can see something else? Or should we work on some to-dos that we have here? So which one do you prefer? I really don't care myself. Use the user's last used runout duration instead of default. That's something we're already doing. Ask for categories and focus topic. That's missing now. Ask for categories. This is missing. Then it says not yet implemented for the error handling here. Same here. Use the latest instead of the default. Ask for categories. Same. We're already doing this. Okay. So no one having any preference in the chat. Then I would go for the app icon actually. Rename stop and pause and provide a new actual stop button for cancelling out early. I have already renamed it. Provide a new actual stop button. This is the thing that's missing. Cancelling out early. Make 1 second more readable until not clear. Unit not clear. Oh yeah, everyone can make this a second. I'm going to skip these. I have actually simplified them. So some of them we have actually fixed. Let's actually amend this. This is not a real change. Fix an issue with, maybe not. Update to do comments that were already fixed. Let me check again what we changed. I forgot to check. Just to review, just to comment. Okay, looks good to me. Cool, then we will go and try to create some sample app icon. Let's get to that. And I'm creating my visuals right now in Figma because Figma is basically, I used to use Sketch for that. So let me show them Sketch app. And Sketch is actually great. It's really, really good. And the only issue I have with it is currently I'm just starting out and it's not free. It's like not that much. I will definitely pay that if I want to. But there is an alternative which also works pretty nicely and is for my usage, just using it alone. It is absolutely for free. It's Figma. And if you want to actually use Figma, the pricing page itself actually, I think that's safe to do. The pricing page itself actually looks like it is not for free. Well, let me open the page without any sign-in. So if you go for pricing, it says the starter is free forever and it just says free Figma and FrigJam files. But the truth is this is just like shared files. And if you go for personal files, basically you can create everything in personal files. And if you go to Figma, so this is the website, but you can also use the desktop app, which is in the end also a website, nothing else than that. But the thing is, just to know if you're starting using Figma, you don't create a team. It automatically creates a team for yourself, and then it tries to put everything in a team and lead to you to use the team, which is the paid service. Instead, do everything in the draft. So you just call them drafts, and it's all going to look like you're in the drafts and things are not really final or something like that. But this is actually just the same feature. It's just called drafts to like bring you to actually book the team thing. So this is fully working now. So I will create a new design file for the app icon. And let's just call it, I don't know how to rename there, but I will rename here. Call it open focus timer app icon. And there's multiple pages here. Let's just call this app icon. Or actually we could call it inspiration. Let's start with inspiration, because I don't have an idea yet what kind of app icon I want to create. So two things we could do here is we could just search for on the App Store for other focus timers, what kind of icon they use. That's like one approach to get an idea what we could use ourselves. But I don't really want to do that, because the best icon I can produce is something that is entirely different from the other apps, so it is also unique. So I don't want to get spoiled or distracted by that. So instead, I'm going to just get inspiration by just Googling for the things that I think are relevant to my app. And I tend to create an app icon by just going by the way that I say, okay, what is actually what I want people to think when they first see my app icon, what my app could be about. What is the feeling that I want to create with my potential users, that they think, okay, this is like the feeling of the app. And that's like the kind of way I approach this. So let's actually write it down. Also, let's do it here. So what is the thing that I want users to think, like the feeling they want to get? What feeling? And so first, my open focus timer is open. So it is free, it is open source, it is adjustable, at least by developers. So I want to create that feeling that it is personal, it is for the user, and obviously it's also focus in their name. So I want them to think about time and distraction free. It's really general right now, but we will try to bring it down. Time, distraction free, and what is focus? It is like simple, one thing, focus. And then we have timer. So some kind of clock, some kind of timer, countdown, something like that. Let's put countdown here. What else? What is a timer? It is like it's getting less. Maybe it's about breaks. Okay, that's like the things that are first in mind. So that's what my users. Oh, this is not readable. Sorry for that. Actually, make this bigger. Oops. So this should be a little bigger now. Let's also make that bigger. Okay, so what feeling do I want my users to have when they see my icon? And what is the real thing that I really want to focus on? Also to make my app different from others, because other focus timers are also on these things. So absolutely what I think is special about this is it's free, it's open source. Adjustable, maybe not so much, I guess. Maybe developers is a focus I want to have, because for developers it's even more useful, because they can change it for themselves. They can add features. Personal, also not maybe that much. Other timers might also be personalizable. It's about time, obviously. One thing is definitely something I want to kind of focus on. Let's make it italic. Timer, clock. I mean, that's kind of obvious. It should have the timer kind of feeling. But so we want to combine somehow. Let's go for a timer here. We want to combine somehow clock timer with free open source. So that's my thinking here. That's like my initial idea of what feeling I want to create. And what I'm going to do now, and that's what I do, how I design my app icons, is I'm going to try find iconology or symbology for these kinds of feelings. And I'm just going to do a Google search for them. So just for these words, I'm just going to search that on Google, and then we're just going to add images we find there into here. So let's just go here and say Google. Let's go for, let me actually make this full screen. Also this full screen. And then put them side by side. Okay, we don't really need the sidebar. Can I? dismiss it somehow. Okay, I'm not a pro here. I don't know how to dismiss that. Anyways, let's go to images. And for some reason, this is still German. I really don't understand why it's German. My whole system is set to English. It's just seeing that I'm in Germany and then it's trying to make the whole thing German. Let me try to go to google.com, English. Okay. Okay, I want to search for timer and free. Let's do the combination. Okay, I don't see any imagery here that's giving the feeling of free. Okay, let's go for open source. Okay, so there is kind of a logo for open source. That's definitely something that we could add here. And somehow it's not working. Oops. Okay, I don't know why it's not working. I will just copy image, paste. Okay, this is one thing. What else do we have? A penguin, because it's Linux, I guess. Open source software. What kind of imagery do we have here? Let's actually make this a little larger. Not much actually. It's always this O. Okay, let's go for free software. What imagery do we have there? Any specific things? Freeware? Is this a symbol? Not really. What are you looking for? I'm trying to, my current task is to create an app icon. And I'm currently, let me make this bigger again, trying to get inspiration for what my app icon might look like. And these are like the feelings that I want to create with my app icon that users should have immediately. And I have made bold the things that I'm specifically looking for. And I want to have like ideas for shapes, for symbols and things like that. Also for colors that are connected with open source, that are connected with free, that are connected with timer. And that's like the special thing my focus timer is about. So maybe also focus actually, maybe also let's make that and open. So that's, I'm trying to get inspiration for what like imagery could be related to these concepts, because I want users to see my app and have an idea of free, open source, focus, timer, something like that. I'm trying to get some ideas. What do we have? Open software. Gotcha. How long have you been working on this project? This is the 5th stream, I believe, on this project. And my first 3 streams were, I think on average, I'm working 2.5 to 3 hours on the project. So 4 times or 5 times with this project, around 15 hours now. This is the how long I've been working. So 2 work days basically, which is not that much, to be honest. Okay. Open software is basically the same as open source. I'm thinking actually of GitHub. Maybe getting some imagery from GitHub. Absolutely. This could be added here. Somehow this is not working. Let's go for copy image way again. So GitHub is definitely something, because it's hosted on GitHub, right? GitHub has these colors. Oops. What else do we have? They have this universe kind of feeling. Or this astronaut. Maybe look something on Dribble. I know Dribble. I think on Dribble, the problem I have with Dribble is it's like already like, how to say, it's like high fidelity app icons there. And I search on Dribble too, but I do it last. I first try to get my own idea of doing it. And then maybe I will also search on Dribble for these things. But I want to first get iconology, like just icons, symbols that are related, and colors. Dribble is like, I will definitely go for that as well. Let's actually open that just to be sure that I don't forget. And we have 3 minutes left in our focus time. Okay, what else do we have? Focus. Focus. Just focus. Okay, not fort. -4. Okay, minus news, minus online, minus Nachrichten. Okay, we have definitely a lens, which is relative to focus. Yeah, forward focus. Something like a like an effect where we zoom in or something. Then we have like a something like this, a magnifier, some kind of yeah, how is that called? A twister, a whirl or something like that. This is like on target. I see that. Yeah, that's also an idea. And this looks nicer. What else do we have? So for focus, we have much more. Actually, we also have like a Pomodoro timer. So let's just see if there's any imageology combined with Pomodoro. Okay, there's this counter, tomato. Oops. What else do we have? Okay, tomatoes actually. Pomodoro, is that like a tomato or something? Is it, I guess it's named after some kind of Italian food or something like that. Work time free. Let's try a dribble actually. So do I have to be signed in to search on dribble? Not sure. Let's go for open source. So what do we have here? Let me actually make this full screen again. So we'll just copy it over later. Okay, open source. Yeah, that's what my issue is with Dribble. I'm not getting ideas here. I'm getting full high fidelity finalized stuff. And that's why I'm not really getting new ideas. What is open source here? I mean, these things are probably open sourced. Let's try GitHub. Oops. I have to search for something else. Shots. Digital thing, that looks nice actually. This is nice. Wow, that's really cool. This is like a developer kind of feeling because it has this sketchiness to it. Let me actually take a screenshot. It's just an idea anyways. Okay, what else do we have? Let's try focus. 15 seconds left. Timer. These are not bad. Okay, I have to go back to that. Oh, something went wrong. Let me take that screenshot real quick. And then we go into a small break. So this is the things that I found in a few minutes. Looks like Xcode icon version of GitHub. Yeah, true. Looks really cool. That's true. I love that. But cool, let's get back to a break. So I'll be back in a minute or so. Okay, back in time. Oh, actually forgot the window open. Here we go. Okay, we were on creating the app icon and we have now collected some inspiration, and I'm going to design a temporary one anyways, so it doesn't have to look good. I'm just trying to still already go into this right direction, so when we iterate over the icon later, when we want to create a better one, we already have some starting point that is not like zero. It already has some meaning to it. So this is our inspiration so far, and yeah, what am I liking here? So I can see that open source has like a green feeling because there's this official open source logo. Then we have like this developer feeling, which this is actually a really nice icon. Doesn't make sense for my app to have a GitHub icon because it's not related to GitHub directly. But maybe this sketchy kind of feeling could be interesting for like a final version. Yeah. Then what else do we have? A focus. So maybe some kind of I mean, focus is playing a lot with like the how to say that. So they are playing with the camera view, like the eye view or something like that here. Then we have some kind of timer, some kind of clock. And this I like also. Maybe we can create a UI similar to this where we're not showing the full clock but just a part of it to just give a hint that it's a clock, but it's all digital. Maybe that's also something interesting. But it's a very specific UI, and if I put it into my icon, I have to design a UI that way. I'm not sure if I want to do that yet. And this is like the Pomodoro thing, but I didn't know that before, so I'm expecting my users also won't know exactly that tomato is related to Pomodoro or tomato is related to time. This is also like a distortion. This is focus. Okay, I like this definitely, this O, because it's also kind of related to a timer. It's also like kind of circular. But we could actually use something similar to this. Just keep this bottom part open. Or end. You can see they have what they have in common is they have this circular thing, and then they are open at the bottom. So both are open source and kind of are open at the bottom, which could be something that we could be using here. Or we just use something simple as this for the timer. Okay. I'm not sure yet, but we have some inspiration. Let's get to a app icon. And let me just create a new artboard, and let's see if we have a size for the app icon. I'm not sure about that. Let's just create our own size. I'll just make it 124 to 124, which is the app icon size for uploading to Apple. And now we're just going to, let's start with the background color. So my feeling is that maybe this open source green could be used. Is that like official open source initiative? I don't want to steal their icon or something. If I also look differently at it, this looks like a playing figure, just this white part, like a person. Really interesting icon. We could use that color. We could also just use GitHub's coloring. Let's just start with that. I don't know. Is it the same as here? Not really. Yeah, kind of similar though. That's maybe a color we can start with. Let's just create a background, rectangle, give it that color, and that doesn't work. So, what color? Come on. I'm not really good in this. So there we go. This is the color. And let's put it as the background color. We'll adjust that later. That's just the starting point. We'll not use the same shape, but instead I want to have something related to time. So I want to have a clock somehow. Are we going to use a clock like a circular thing for the timer? Maybe not. Maybe we just use something more similar to what's that actually? In English, it's a hourglass, of course. Hourglass. I'm thinking about an hourglass for some reason. Maybe something circular. Some kind of different shape. Let me try. Add them to our... Here we go. because that's definitely related to a timer for me. Like I'm using hourglasses, and we could go for, I want to have like a nice modern look, so I'm not going for the older style ones. Which ones do look nice? This is crazy. I think that's enough already. So maybe some kind of hourglassy shape. Maybe not the full hourglass, maybe just a part of it. So imagine we have this image, but just some part of like this. The whole app icon, maybe? I don't know. You can play around with that. I actually like this shape, so let's try with that. So let's make this bigger. I'm gonna use it as a background, and I'm just making it 20% so I can see and draw with it. But now we're gonna create a shape. So I'm not a good designer, don't expect me to be really good. I'm just creating something as a developer here, and I'm happy I can create anything at all. And I think I have not tried Polygon, but I think this is the right tool to actually, oh, I think that's the wrong one. I think this is the right thing to create a path from here, maybe right to here. From there, probably I'll need 2 here. Probably I will need 2 there too. Let's go back. So we need 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. Okay, something like that. Now we have these dots, and now we can try to give them go back here. I forgot how to make them play second round. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Nope. How can I round this off? Mirror angle? Nope. I don't remember how that looks. Nope, that's also not what I'm looking for. I want to round it off there. Vector, rounding, vector, resizing, layer, stroke, effects. Nope. Figma, rounding, a vector. Is it just corner radius? I don't want to just have corner radius. What can I do? Seriously, is that the only way I could do it? I want to create a vector though. Bend tool, that sounds right. Yeah, there we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay, there's our bending, and this one is much shorter. Oops, let's make it independent. Oops. And this one is different. Let's bend this too. Something like that. Something like that. making our own shape. Actually, I think we are gonna need to make this wider. Well, let's just start off with this. Oops. No. Yeah, this place is looking kind of ugly. Probably because I have to make this a little smaller. Okay, anyways, we have our shape here. Should be better than nothing. And it's not looking great. Well, let's actually add contents. So how can I fill this? There we go. Yeah, we have to fix the shape first. Let's go to the pen, let's select, oops. Oh, we want, let's select the dot, we need to edit. This is definitely one we need to fix. Okay, I have to press Alt to change them separately. And this is like what I'm looking for. Same here, like this. Where's the second handle here? It's gone. Okay, I deleted it somehow. Well, here, let's make it like this, and this one, I just make this longer. This, like that. Okay, let's not make this perfect and waste time. Just have 11 minutes left in this session. In this Pomodoro timer session, I mean. Just shorter. And this shorter. Yes, the shape is not really getting right. I'll have to adjust this later. Anyways, let's imagine this is looking nice. And now we want to have some nice nice shade here, I guess. So let's go for actually not a solid one, but a radial. And let me also hide the image here at the background. So this is maybe already creating a feeling of things are filled. Let's make the outside much larger. We can actually see the shape. Then we have a radial here. Let's change the color. We'll play around with the color, but let's see what makes most sense. Angular, not really. Diamond, not really. That's also interesting. Let's stay with this one. Let's switch the colorings. Make them outside. So the bottom half looks nice now. It's kind of filling, but the top one should also be at the bottom, right? So we might need to duplicate this whole thing. And in the second one, we're just going for the other, where we have it in the middle. So it's falling from the middle. And then we can just crop them. Use half on each. How can I use this mask? Show hide. I want to basically cut the half off. I could just use a rectangle here and the same here. And I just do them both. Oops. And I just say subtract selection. And here, subtract selection, and then I can combine them like this. I have to remove this line here. I'll do that later. This is just the interim. This is also kind of looks ugly, to be honest. It's also not clear that it's really a time. Maybe we will create something else here. We will probably need something with a shape. Something like go from here to here to here. Yes, it does. Okay, this is now a new shape we've created, and now we can actually fill this. And I think that's going to be a better solution than what we have done until now. And we can give this like a sand color. Let's actually search for a sand color, and I used to use color hacks for that. So it's just a website where you can find colors. I'm just searching for sand. It doesn't find anything. Latest palettes. Let's search for sand here. So what's a nice, that's sand color here. There you go. I like this one. Let's try with this. Where's Figma? There you go. Let's give it a sand color. Not the one I'm looking for really. And also I have to adjust these things in detail. But for now I'm going to keep it simple. Not looking perfect yet. I need another one here. Also, maybe I can fix the black thing here. But I'm not a designer, you can tell. And I'm much better at UI designs than at like icon designs or something like that. And now these ones we want to have more looking a little bit nicer, like this. Wow, come on. There you go. Same here. Like this and that as well. Should be a little nicer. And the same, we just copy here and we just adjust the shapes. And now we can basically, actually we don't need two anymore. We have like these groups where we have cut the half off. We don't really need that anymore. Instead we can just use one vector. And the rest we can delete. That's cool. And this doesn't need any stroke, at least not for now. And then we just adjust this one here. And we can remove the inside, although maybe we keep the color, it makes it look more a little glossy, but maybe just like hint it. Do 50%, something like that. And let's just give it some kind of there you go. Does it look like sand? I hope it does. I mean, obviously it's far away from being complete. It's just to give us an idea what we could do in the future. And I like to really iterate on everything, and I also iterate on design. So this is like my first iteration, kind of sketch. And in the best case, I don't do the final design myself. I just let someone else do it who is just better at that. Or I just design it from the start with a similar idea, but properly this time. Let's put it here. Let's just add one more. Oops, we made a small mistake there. Made it too much up. This maybe has to go up as well. I don't know, something like this. Maybe we also have to add some falling down here. I don't know. Let's just create a circle. And let's give it the same color. Maybe just duplicate them. I don't know if that looks like falling, not really. Maybe it has to be smaller. I don't know, just playing around. Design is hard. And we could also put like lines, but yeah, that's how I want to keep it for now. It's better than nothing. And let's give the background actually also some kind of more, yeah, I don't know. Does that really give you a feeling of what the app does? Not really. So what is this app about? Probably some kind of time, maybe you can guess. It also looks like it's not really a nice a professional app. It looks more like a toy application, but that's because the icon isn't designed yet. And to go back to the inspiration, so that we use that color, but I don't really like that color that much. We might use, let's try to use a radial, not really. I want to have just a linear. And let's actually try this blue color we had here as well. What about this one here? What would this look like? Probably too colorful. Kind of interesting though. Let's, oops. Move this down. Let's remove this. I don't know. Let's just keep it. How much time have we? Have 1 minute left. So let's try to actually export this and just use it as the app icon for now. I'm exporting it as app icon, or actually go into the, let's export it there. And then I have an app that I have bought. It's the Asset Catalog Creator Pro. So that's an app that I have bought on the App Store, where I can just add this icon and I will just export it to the different sizes I need for iOS, macOS, etc. And I will just go for app icon iOS first. Create asset, select your output directory. Yeah, let's go for that stuff. And then create asset catalog. Now I have this asset catalog that I can just drag and drop into Xcode. So where's our assets? We have app assets, which is including our app icon, and we see it has iPhone, iPad, and also Mac sizes. I'm just remove this. We're going to add ours. So we have this app icon set. So I'm going to drag and drop in here, which doesn't work. Here, nope. Let's just copy. Okay, first break. So another 2-minute break, and actually let's skip the break because we're coming close to our end of the stream anyway. So I'm just going to skip the break. Let's finish up the app icon and summarize the stream. So let me copy this. Used to work. Okay, it does work. This is the iOS app icon part. And now let's also export as a macOS app icon. Append to your, append them to the app icons. Name your asset app icon 1. You know what, let's cancel. Let's just delete this. Let's just export again. Now we have the app icon set for the Mac. And I hope it's going to be able to merge them somehow. No, it doesn't. But are there any sizes that I need here? This is Mac, 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 okay. You actually copy them. Or maybe I just add them here. I think I can select Mac. There we go. and then I can just open the Finder, copy them over. Delete this and assign them. This is 1616. I'm sure there's a better way, but this works now. 32, 32, 16. Oh wait. So 16, 16, 1x. 16, 16, 2x. 32, 32. 32 is 2x. 128. 128, 2x. 256. 2x. 512. 2x. The original, this is basically the same. Okay, let's see what the app will look like when we run this now. So the app icon hasn't changed. I'm wondering if this is because of caching. So I will just clean the whole thing here, and let's also go and open the dev cleaner. So that's also an app I can recommend. It's totally free. Basically you open app cleaner and it asks you to get access, and then it basically scans your Xcode directories, and it finds also all old iOS versions you have installed. Like I have iOS 15.2 installed, and I can actually delete that. That's 5 gigabytes that I don't really need anymore. And I have iOS 15.2.1 installed because I have Xcode 13.2.1, and now I can delete that, and it's automatically marking those I can delete. Also older Xcodes here I can just clean, and it just saves disk space, which is really nice. It also gives access to the derived directory, derived data. So if you want to clean that ever, you can also do it through this app really simply. And let's just do that as well. Never hurts. Now the app building will take a little more time, but let's do that. It's actually going to have to check out the package. Let's update them as well. So we update our dependencies, and then we're going to run the app and just see what the app icon looks like when we run the app, if that's any usable right now, and if we can improve it and iterate over it in the future. So let's summarize also already what we've done right now. So collect some ideas and inspiration on what the app icon could look and feel like. Design very first early version or iteration of app icon. Put the word temporary here. Version of app icon. And we can actually move also the output, which is our app icon that we have in here. Focus timer app icon. Let's actually add it to our Notion document so we have a reference back to it. And can just see it when we look at our summary. Maybe a little too big. Can I make it just right half? There you go. Okay, Xcode was hanging. Next steps we have designed, and then next time we can actually continue with the reflection screen. Well, let's see. What about the build? Let's try building again. So that's a clean build. That's why it's taking longer. And we'll see if the app icon actually shows off. And there we go. You can see we have to crop the app icon for the Mac. So that's definitely we want to do something there. So crop app icon on Mac OS to look nice in the dock. That's definitely not something we want to keep that way. But let's see what it looks like on iOS. I'm expecting it to be automatically cropped there. So let's wait for that build as well. But I can already say that the icon doesn't look nice. It shows an idea what we could do though, and actually, yeah. No, not gonna keep that for sure. But that's sometimes how you start, is that you just design something that is just like a temporary solution because you want to have something you can see. And what's for sure is that I can definitely recognize this icon. So the color is really very recognizable, and it's going to be easy to find it for me now during the development. And iterating is always like the approach that I take, because you can make sure that each iteration you just get better. And that way, yeah, you're always improving, and at some point you would have an app that actually looks nice. I'm not sure what's happening here. Is it actually building? Let me stop. Yeah, iOS app seems to be building. Not sure why it's taking so long though. Let me stop. Let me force quit Xcode. And there we go, force quit number 2. Actually, we could implement something like force quit timer, force quit counter, which would be funny for streaming, because then you have like a counter, and then maybe you have like an average, then statistics, how often you have to force quit Xcode, things like that. Try building again. This time I hope it's working. Yeah, this looks better. C numbers 152 or 364, etc. This is normal for building. Yeah, I was missing that before. And also our accent color is kind of not fitting our new coloring scheme, so we might want to change that. Okay, app is starting. Let's see the icon. So this is the icon. Yeah, definitely recognizable, definitely not beautiful. Gonna work on that. Okay, let's change the accent color too, and then let's wrap this up. We will just use this color. Or actually, we could use that color for now. And there we go. Let's check the changes. Okay, the app icon, maybe we don't need that because it's discard this because it's already in the assets. Okay, we have added an app assets. Accent color was changed from by the color. Then we have the app icon set, and this basically has all the icons now of different sizes, and they're all definitely looking fine. And now we're just committing add initial iteration or temporary, add initial temporary, or let's stick with iteration of app icon based on a hourglass. Yeah, let's keep it at that. Changed accent color. And basically that's the summary of the stream. So to recap, at the end of the stream, what did we do today? We started with the UI, which was buggy, it was not working, and we fixed that it was not updating the state properly in SwiftUI by basically extracting back or like reusing back the changes that we made in the model layer. And we're now doing the changes in the state and just passing it on to the model layer. So we still have stored properties in the state, which was useful. And that way it was easy to fix the SwiftUI state changes. Then we fixed the tests of the timer feature, which were not working anymore. And we reset to the last provided timer duration. So that's also working again, which was not working anymore. Then we collected some ideas and inspiration on what the app icon of the app might look like or feel like. And we have some words there that we have collected, but basically we also thought, okay, let's create a very fast, simple app icon. And that's the result of it. It's not really nice. And we're definitely going to work on it, but this is the first iteration. And sometimes starting off with like just a general thing is better than nothing. So that's what we're working on with right now. But we found also, we also changed the accent color. While we're doing that, we found that Xcode was hanging, so I had to force quit. Also, a Mac app icon was not showing. Had to clean build, so it's not automatically updating, but that was not a big issue. Then learnings, not too many to be honest in this stream, but definitely the next steps are we have to crop the app icon so it doesn't look like a rectangular thing that we had here just now. And next feature we're going to work on is adding a reflection screen with a summary of the session. So we're going to ask for these 4 fields: progress, problems, learnings, next steps, and we're probably going to get there next stream. And then connect the reflection screen to the database so we can also store those data. And actually we fixed also the database connection. So loading the running timer from the database is fixed. So that was also not working. And that's the whole recap of the stream. So thank you everyone who has joined in to the stream, for writing in the chat, for listening, for watching, and also every followers. We have reached our 50 follower goal today, and next stream actually I will be a Twitch affiliate if Twitch doesn't say no or something like that. And then we're going to also have some more features like channel points. So every minute you're going to watch, or every 10 minutes or so, you will collect channel points. And then I'm going to add some nice things you can do in the chat with those channel points, like, I don't know, asking me things or playing around, or there are a lot of nice fun things that we can do with those. And obviously also subscribing is going to be possible, hopefully starting on the Friday stream, if you want to support me. So thank you very much for everyone joining in. If you have been watching and you haven't been following me, make sure you follow me. So I'll be streaming on Friday next. So this Friday, 2 p.m. Central European Time. And on Friday, we're going to continue with the app reviews. I have 1 app review planned for Friday. Also 2 more planned for next week, Wednesday and Friday stream. And I may also be thinking about making code reviews. That's still a survey that I have on Twitter that was ended during the stream, and I'm going to think about maybe doing that as well. So thank you everyone for joining in, and have a nice evening, night, or whatever time it is for you. And see you next time. Thank you and bye.